Today we're going to compare two lenses. We got the Sigma 85 art lens and the Canon 70 to 200 2.8 L lens. We're going to compare these two lenses, the 85 at 1.4 and the 70 to 200 at 200 at 2.8. So we're going to compare the depth of field. There's so many things to compare: sharpness, image quality, all that other good stuff. I'm just going to focus on the depth of field. I'm going to focus on that blurred background. Which lens gives, I don't want to say better, but like we're just going to compare the depth of field in both lenses. Now, for depth of field, there's four ways you can achieve the depth of field. First way is the aperture. So the wider the aperture, so when you have like a 2.8, a f2, a 1.8, a 1.4, 1.2, the smaller the f number, the more blurred out your background is going to be. Okay? Then you have the focal length. So the longer the focal length. So if you're dealing with like a 24 or a 35, it's not really a long focal length. You'll get some depth of field. You get some blurred background. It's cool. But if you want to get more, you got to go a longer focal length. So when you get up to like 85, 100, 135, 200, 300, 400, 800, crazy. The longer the focal length, the more blurred the background you're going to get, the more depth of field you're going to get. Then there's also lens to subject distance. So the closer you get to the subject, the more the background is going to get blurred out. Okay, so the closer you get in, the more you're going to be able to blur that background out. And then the fourth way is to move your subject farther away from the background. So the distance from the subject to the background, okay, the more far away they are from the background, the more you're going to get to blur that background out. So I'm going to try to incorporate all four of those in this experiment. But since we're dealing with two different focal lengths, I'm going to have to do two different tests. So the first test is I'm going to keep the lens to subject distance the same. Okay, so I'm going to stand in the same spot, model's going to stand in the same spot, and I'm going to take two shots, and we're going to see the difference. Then the second test, I'm going to frame the shot the same way. Okay, so that's going to require me to change distances. So the lens to subject distance is going to change, and we're going to see the difference. So let's take a look here. Let me minimize this bad boy right here. Put that screen down there. Y'all don't want to see my face, right? You don't care about my face. Okay, so we got this shot here, and I was at, this is 85 1.4. Okay, now I took a second shot. I stayed in the same position, and this is now 200 at 2.8. So let's put those side by side. Let's put that right there. Okay, now there we go. So this shot here, where did I go? There we go. Okay. This shot on the right, sorry, on the left is 85. This shot on the right is 200 at 2.8. So obviously there's noticeable difference. Actually, let me put myself up there. Y'all need to see me. Okay. So let's take the 85. Now I'm going to crop the 85, and I'm going to try to keep it framed the same way as the other shot. That looks okay. So let's go. Okay. Okay, so we have here, this is the 85 cropped, and this is the 200. So we got pretty similar photos when you crop it. And notice there's really no compression. A lot of people think when you're shooting with a 200 or a zoom lens, there's compression, but look, there's really no compression here. The background, these are pretty much two identical shots. This 200 looks a little bit more depth of field. We can see like the stoplight right here. It's a little bit bigger. The bokeh is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more blurred, but it looks pretty much the same shot. Look at the pillars right here. Okay, these pillars right here. Um, as you can see, he slightly moved. I think that's when I bent down to pick up the lens and then shot it again. And I kind of moved and maybe he kind of moved, but it's pretty much the same shot. Like the pillar right here, it's right there. It's the same. These look like identical shots. All right, so really, if you want, you can shoot with 85 and then crop it, and you can get pretty much the similar shot as the 200 at 2.8. So those are some things to consider. Now let's go try the other test I did, and this is where I shot. I framed it the same way. So we have the 85 right here at 1.4. We have the 70 to 200 at 2.8 over here. And now if you notice the difference, first of all, let's look at the blur. Like 70 to 200, it still has a lot more blur. And if you notice the compression now, look where this stoplight is. Okay, it's way in the corner, but here it's way over here. Okay, this pillar right here, look where it is now. Like it was just over his shoulder. Now look where it is now. And you see the difference. The pillar, it's on the 200, it's right by the edge of the far left. And over here, you see how, like, look at the difference right there. And this is basically framed the same way. The only difference is I had to move closer with the 85. So I'm standing significantly closer. With the 200, I had to back up a little in order to frame it the same way. So we see the compression now occurs when you move closer, not just because I'm at 200. So that was a misconception a long time. And I believe, I remember seeing a video by F-Stoppers. Lee Morris posted a video. And now I'm testing it out and I'm actually seeing it for myself. So the compression comes with you moving closer, not the lens. So lens doesn't really cause compression. But look at the blur though. You can see the blur. It's a lot more blurry on the 70 to 200. If we zoom in, hold on, let's zoom in right about there, and let's zoom in and look at the difference. 70 to 200, it's a lot more blurry, but you get a little bit more detail, obviously, with the 7200 or with the 85. That's the difference right there. You make the call. What do you think? Let me know what you think. I find I like them both. I know for weddings, I shoot a lot of weddings. 70 to 200 is it's very cool because, you know, I can be so far away and I can just zoom in and get that shot. But then with the 85, you can do the same thing and just crop it. You know, especially if you're shooting with you know, I usually shoot with a Mark III or a Mark IV. You know, 23 megapixels, 30 megapixels, whatever. You can still crop it and get a decent shot. So let me know what you guys think. What lens do you prefer? Strictly based on depth of field. We're not talking about image quality. We're not talking about sharpness. We're not talking about all those versatility and all the other stuff. Just focusing on the depth of field, the blur. Which one do you like better? So leave some comments. Share this video. Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on whatever other social media that I'm on. Just find me. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.